COVID-19 has forced everyone to rethink and realign their strategies as it relates to business, jobs, and just living. Everybody's priorities had to change. And during these times, is branding important and how do we stay relevant? So, on today's show, I'll be talking to a branding coach and expert. She will give us the tea on should we be branding and what we need to do. I'm your host, Ms. Entertainment. Let's talk about it. This is your girl, Ms. Entertainment. I am your host for Let's Talk About It. So, welcome to my world. We're getting ready to start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. She's known as the Brand Success Coach and serves as Vice President of the Digital Media Strategy on the Board of Directors for the National Association of African Americans and Human Resources Atlanta Chapter. Please welcome Tamiko Drummond. Well, welcome, Miss Tamiko. How are you?
I'm well, thank you, Teresa. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, let's talk about some branding, Miss Lady. I needs to know. So, with branding, especially during a pandemic, how important, or is it important now? Should we still be thinking about our personal branding and even business branding?
Yes, I think you definitely should still be thinking about that. The only thing you have to think about is pivoting. More and more, everyone is online. So make sure that you do have an online presence. And so it's definitely time to talk about yourself. People want to know who you are, who they're doing business with. So don't get on there trying to just sell all the time. You have to be personable and people want to know who they're doing business with. It's a relationship thing. Everything is so heavy right now with what's going on with the pandemic, everyone being sheltered in. So just like people like to watch television for entertainment, not to say that you're entertaining them, but, kind of just give a little of yourself, whether it's inspiration, motivation, like quotes. Go in there, you definitely can talk about what your business offerings are and then just go from there. So it's kind of like an 80-20, give them something that they need so that they can want what you have to give, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I can see that. I guess with now that we're more virtual and a lot of the personal touches of the face-to-face is now kind of halted. I mean, would it be, it seems like it'd be easier, but to me it seems harder just to do the virtual. What are your thoughts on doing the virtual, talks and even more?
So you have to find a way to be interactive. So a lot of companies have reached out to me for facilitations, right? And utilizing Zoom, they have annotation tools that you can really interact with your clients. So if say you have a talk, you're on a Zoom call and someone's interviewing you about your book, right? You can post a picture up of the book and you can have them to go to the annotation tools, move down through view options, move down and either write a text on the book or, put a little stamp, a heart or something. So it's a way to interact with people. That helps them to feel like you're not just talking at them, but like they're involved in everything. So.
Yeah, I guess the challenge was always be trying to think of something to interact. At least for me, that's the challenge, to think of what can I interact that you don't already know.
But that's where you have to be kind of creative, come up with some fun games, ask people about themselves, their thoughts about something, and go from there. It's about interaction right now. You have to capture people's attention.
So for our entrepreneurs, because a lot of folks are pivoting and they're getting into the entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. So what will be the first steps if they're new to this, is branding themselves?
That's a really good question. And most people won't know. I would say definitely reach out for a brand coach, or a lot of people, such as myself, we offer 30 minutes consultation, free consultation. So definitely utilize that so you can just have a conversation so you know where you want to go, what you should do, what are your first steps. And there's like an extensive intake process. So there's several questions that you need to answer. For instance, it's not just about creating a headshot for yourself. You may want to get a mini photo shoot, but before I bring any clients through any branding process, I have to find out what their business is and most definitely who is their audience. That's the most important things before we start.
So, what are the biggest challenges you've seen with dealing with branding? You know, especially when the first timers, because a lot of times, especially if you're entrepreneurs, you don't necessarily have that expendable cash. So, what can they do in the meantime to get themselves so they can get some cash in, so they can get more expertise from someone like yourself?
Okay, that is a good question. So there are definitely tools that they can use by themselves. Canva is a huge tool that I use. On Canva, you can even create a logo if you want. So if you just want to create like a name logo, you can go ahead and do that just for a start. Or I would say just kind of do some research. Research what is it that you're wanting to do, and then start small. Don't be afraid to start.
So
So
I
don't
guess the biggest challenge is starting, is getting started. Okay.
and just try. You have to try some things. Maybe you'll fail, maybe you won't, but you won't know unless you try. And ask for some help, right? You may have some people within your network that you can maybe barter with. You never know what tools other people may have. So just reach out to people, ask questions, your friends, have some kind of accountability partners that will be there to help you. So you never know.
So it's talking about failing. What are some of the, or what have you seen for as the biggest, one of the biggest pitfalls that, you know, new folks trying to brand themselves do? What shouldn't they do as one of the biggest pitfalls?
One of the biggest pitfalls, that's another good question. You're coming with these great questions. So I think a pitfall that I've seen is whatever your personal brand is, it needs to line up with your business brand. So like I mentioned before, people need to be able to trust you. So if your personal brand does not line up with whatever your business brand is, it could be a distraction. So really pay attention to what it is that you are offering and make sure that it aligns. For example, if you're saying that you are a gospel singer, on your personal page, I should not see you looking, like a party girl, maybe, because it doesn't align with that particular brand of a gospel singer, right? So just whatever your personal brand is, it definitely needs to line up with what your professional brand is. That way you can gain the confidence of your, clients, future clients, etc.
Be true to who you are and make sure that is, I guess, expanded or comes through for whatever your brand is going to be.
Exactly.
So I know we talked about for is engagement. Is there already, and is that the only way to stay relevant? What are your thoughts about how do people stay relevant? Or even the companies that are already out there, you know, they had something, but they were more of that personal touch. Now we got to go virtual. How do they stay branded? Because I've seen a lot of people, a lot of companies have done some pivoting, especially like when you look at restaurants, you know, that did not offer, you know, like delivery. Now that, you know, who knew that we can get some delivered from Popeyes? But, you
Right.
know, people have to make that pivot. So in that, anything that you suggest with some of the companies or businesses that are established to think about for is staying relevant?
That's a good question. So in order to stay relevant, you have to be able to adapt. The world
True.
is ever changing. So if you're not adaptable, you're not going to make it. So you have to be able to pivot. You have to be able to pause and think and restructure at any given moment. It's like with any business or even in life, things happen. So you have to be able to be resilient. So you just have to have that mindset. Don't feel defeated. Just say pause and say, okay, what else can I do? And like I said before, reach out and get help if you need it.
Okay. So we talked a lot about businesses and entrepreneurs. What about the average person that goes and punches a clock or, just goes to work, not necessarily interested in entrepreneurship, but should they also be thinking about their own personal brand? What are your
Yes,
thoughts around that?
yes, certainly. Personal brand is absolutely important, even within your organization. Um, I always let people know that how they are outside can actually affect how they are within a business unit. So, for instance, there are some, I don't know if you remember years ago, there was a post on Twitter where they had an internship with a huge company, and then they got online and they started, you know, posting F bombs and saying, hey, this huge company, just got me as an intern. F all you guys, I'm working for this huge company. And so someone who is high up in that company reached out and said, hey, I don't think you should be speaking like that, especially when you're speaking about this company. And their response is, forget you. I've got this job now. You don't matter, whatever. And so the person reaches out and says, okay, well, I'll let HR know that this is how you feel. Well, anyways, long story short, this person no longer had their internship. So you tell me, is your personal brand important? Yes, it is. And it affects your professional brand. So while you're out there on social media, you have to be cognizant of that.
And a lot of folks are getting in trouble for, like you're saying, some of the things, especially even in this climate with the racial unrest. Some of
Yes,
the folks that's getting on there talking real reckless, they
exactly.
find themselves without a job. But then it's like, is that fair? Because what I do on the job should be separate from what I do as a person. Because you get that especially from some of the younger kids, that hasn't, really made it into that corporate America. What are your thoughts towards answering them on that?
Now, I do understand, and you make a good point, but this is the world that we are living in. It's technology based. And at any given moment, someone can pick up a cell phone and record you. So you have to pay attention to how you're behaving outside. And what I'm finding with these people is that no one thinks of consequences, right? And so you have to think of consequences. That's why they end up getting in trouble, because they're just acting with emotions. And yeah, I understand things happen, but is it rational? And so they're just going off of pure emotions, and then it turns around to bite them, because guess what? Now you are representing this company, and usually companies say that within their handbooks, etc. You're a representation of them, whether you're on the clock or not. Because if someone Googles you and says, hey, you work for so-and-so company, now you're a representation of that company, and they will quickly pull away from that. So do you blame them?
No, yeah, it is. It is what it is. So you still have to play by the rules, or you get where you don't have to play by the rules. You get your own stuff. But yeah, I totally agree. Because I mean, even when you have a platform out there, how big or how small, anybody can Google stuff and still like, well, she said this. So you always have to be cognizant of
Yeah.
what you're saying and how you're saying it.
Mhm.
Because you never know.
Even those people who remember, there was an incident the other day where someone pulled a gun on someone else, and it's like, okay, you're being recorded. Your company is going to see this, and it was uncalled for. So please just be aware.
I guess it's kind of forcing people to act where you should, or trying,
Mm-hmm.
treat people the way you want to be treated. I guess I don't know. It's just some of that is just I don't get. But then I like it because you see people's true nature.
You do,
So
and that's what's scary a little bit,
that's
right?
what's scary.
Really scary. It's like, wow, this is really who you are. And now the world is seeing who you are. I think what's happening now is things that were normally hidden. is now just wide open. It's almost like anything goes. We're on in this bizarre world where anything goes and you're able to see everything. So it's like an unveiling.
Yeah,
So
that's true. Now going back to personal branding, should you have I know how you should be acting in the workplace and out in the world.
mhm.
Along with that, should you have your own logo? A friend of mine teased me. Well, he said everybody should have their own theme music, which I do personally. But
Okay, that's good. Yeah.
but should you have your own logo? And because I think you are your own brand, you're representing you. If you're not representing anybody else, what are your
Exactly.
thoughts on getting your own logo?
You're absolutely right. But it depends on what your purpose is, right? So
Okay.
I don't think just anybody should go out and say, "Hey, I'm my personal brand, so I'm gonna get my logo." What is your purpose behind it? Do you have a plan for that logo? So are you going to be a speaker? So we would have to go through what is your business objectives.
Okay.
There has to be
Okay.
a purpose behind it. But I would agree, if you're going to be a speaker, say that you're an author, then you do want to brand yourself as such. So I would say create maybe a signature logo with a favicon and go from there. But if not, just that's a waste of money to just say, "Hey, I'm a personal brand, so I got my logo," and you're not doing anything. It's just because.
Well, I say, hey, get it. So you never know what might happen. So you already got that already checked off. Check.
But there's a whole process. It's a process that I bring clients through. It's not just, "Hey, yeah, go get a logo, go ahead." It's colors. It goes really deep.
Okay, gotcha. So talking about branding, being that you're an expert, if what would you recommend as far as any type of, for as social media? Because when it comes to social media, I guess it depends on the age or, who your clients are. How do
Yes.
you choose that, or when do you know what's working or what's best?
hmm So typically, I believe that sometimes our clients tend to be parts of ourselves, what we value. So think about what product or service that you are offering and who would be your ideal client. And you have to kind of go
Somebody
beyond.
with some money. Well, okay, I'm
I
sorry.
know, right? But you have to, there's a list that you create and you write down every single thing that you believe your client would be, and then perform some market research, right? See who your competitors are and just see what they're doing, who maybe are their clients, and just see if that's a fit. So do some research, go on their pages, check everything out, and see if that aligns with what your business is and your values, and then go from there. And especially, like you said, money is an option. So will they be able to afford what you have to offer?
Right. So, if you could say one thing to a potential client, what is the most important thing they need to think about when it comes to branding?
Mhm. I think that there is not just one cookie cutter approach.
Okay.
So I say, don't just go out there and you're rushing and you're like, "Okay, I know I need to get this, that, and the other." Sit down, pause, and think, and maybe just play around a bit. And maybe volunteer, right? So if you're a speaker, volunteer for some organizations if they have speaking engagements. Go ahead and try it out, because you may get into something and realize that this is not for me. So I would say try it out first before you invest, and just see if this is truly something that you want to do before you invest money. That would be my biggest takeaway.
Because I know as far as out here trying to make some things happen, we definitely had some learns the hard way.
Mhm.
And I do agree that you have to really kind of step back and, just slow down and think about it. It's because but, it's that rush, rush, rush. If I don't get it out, I might not get it out, or then you compete in, it's just so much, trying to brand yourself, making sure that it's the right thing. And
Mm-hmm.
then how do you know if it's working? How do you know as a entrepreneur or business? How do you know when it's working or not working?
And so again, I would say ask questions, right? Um, there's way to have like a focus group. Invite some people who are your niche market, right? To just post on Facebook or something and say, hey, I'd like you to join my focus group real quick and show them whatever your offering is and get feedback. And say, if you do that for 3 or 4 groups, just kind of see what their feedback is and go from there. That would be my advice.
So keep trying until whatever you're trying to do sticks.
Because it's best that you ask questions from who your target audience is, right? Don't just go out there and you're like, you know what? Let me just throw this against the wall. It stinks. It has to make sense. So who's going to know but your audience, right? So ask them exactly what it is that you want to know. That way you know how to market to them, where to market to them, and you're not just spending money and it's going nowhere. And then even from that, you may have to make some changes, but as your business starts to grow, then you can invest more, but always ask a question. Am I doing this right? Hey, it's an easy as a quick post going to join different groups, that have to do with whatever your business is. Like you're a children's book author, right? Congratulations. Yay. So join some mom groups and ask some questions, whatever you want to know regarding your book, how to sell to them, what is it that they need before you come out with a new product, because maybe they'll guide you in the right direction, right? So that way you know exactly, this is my target market, this is what they asked for, I'm going to deliver it.
Now, I definitely like that advice, to join different groups, because you find out a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
and especially you got to get outside your circle and family, because family sometimes and friends tell you what you want to hear, not necessarily what you need to hear.
Right.
So, but that is fantastic advice. I like that.
Mhm.
So, if you sum it up in 3 things, it would be: take your time, think it
Yes.
through,
Mhm.
and get a coach.
True that. True. That
so,
makes
so
sense because remember, your brand is a visual representation of you. So you want to always put your best foot forward if you can. So I don't say go out there and just try. Right now, I'm just going to go, 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 go. Um, I'm not in the business of wasting people's money, and not all money is good money, So you have to know who your clients are. You don't want to waste money. So you don't want to constantly make mistakes. So just ask questions, go out there and throw out surveys and just gather intel, right? And then go from there. And then you can strategize and find out what's the best route. And then you can try a few things, but they're low cost things to work on. So just try it out and don't just pour money in this, but yet it's not the right thing. You have to know exactly what you're doing, who you're marketing to, and go from there.
so what would be one low cost thing? Because we're in some strange times. Some
You
times that we have never ever seen, and
would,
people are trying to pivot, but they also trying to watch what they do have. Because you never know when the axe might come. So some of those little things that you can do now until they can afford a coach. What would be one thing?
right. So let's see. For instance, if you're trying to create posts, right?
Mhm.
Depending if you're clear on what it is that you're promoting. Um, for instance, I'll take you, children's book author, right? So you can create little videos, and there are definitely tools like Canva. You can create, are you familiar with Canva? You can create posts. They kind of have templates set up for you already. So you just go in there and change things up, drag in your logo, different things like that. You can utilize just different tools to create videos, make your posts a little more interesting, ask questions. They have those templates there for you. So that's low cost, because Canva can be free, and unless you decide to get a membership and a subscription. So that's an option.
Okay, cool. So when we're starting to get some buzz and you're starting to get that some expendable cash,
Right.
is there any kind of indicators that would tell me, okay, it's time to move to the next level and I need to get some actual expertise helping me versus me trying to do it all myself? Are there any indicators that you can share?
Yeah, I feel that when you get to the point where you're kind of stuck, you're stagnant in your business, and you actually don't know what else to do, I feel that that's when you should reach out for a coach and say, hey, I've done this, that, and the other. I'm stuck right now. I feel stuck. This is where I see my business going. Can you help me get there? And I find that people come to me when they're stuck. Either I get people when they're brand new and they're starting out and they have no idea what to do and they don't have the time to execute, right? So they reach out to me then, or that they're stuck and they want to move farther and they just need more ideas. So I think if you are falling those categories, definitely reach out, and I'll be happy to help.
Awesome. Well, this was some great nuggets that you share with us. I appreciate your time as always. Thank you so much. And I appreciate you. So thank you for talking with me. And we need the brand. That's the main thing. We need a brand.
Yes. Branding is important. Your personal brand is important. So keep that in mind, and make sure that when you're on social media, you practice social media etiquette. And remember, at any given point, anyone can be pointing this at you. So make sure what they're seeing, and when it gets out there, it's something that you actually want the world to see.
Okay. Point at all times, except in your house. You can be who you want to be. All right, girl. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thanks for having me. Bye.
So we had another amazing show. I want to thank my guest, Tamiko Drummond, and I want to thank my sponsor, Terradome Entertainment. And if you have any questions for our guests, please send a question to info@terradomeent.com. That's info@terradomeent.com. She'll make a video answering you and giving you a shout out. So until next time, please be safe out there. Salute.